Hey everybody! So we're going to be reading a story today. Avery wanted to pop in and see because, do you want to tell us why?
This is my favorite book. Well, not my favorite book.
But why do you love
like
it?
Because that's Nessie.
Because this reminds her of Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, and she really likes Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. All right, guys, so before we get started, let me just tell you what we're going to try to do from this point on. This is actually my third attempt at doing this. I'm learning, okay? So what I'm learning is that I need to read these books really quickly because my videos that I post on YouTube can only be like less than 15 minutes. I was trying to do a video with read aloud, literacy lesson, and math lesson all in one so that you could sit down for a good chunk of time and do some learning and your parents could get done what they needed to get done, but it wouldn't let me post a 40-minute video. It said 15 minutes was the maximum. Okay, you need to go now. Bye-bye. Ow. What we're going to call this is Learning with Little Tweet. But instead of doing one long video, I'm probably going to have to do like 2 or 3 smaller videos. So parents, it doesn't quite free you up for like 45 minutes, but you can get the first video started for Learning with Little Tweet. And then when that one's done, either they can click on the next one, the next link, or you can get them to the next one, and we'll just have to do it that way. So this is a pretty long book. The first time I read this book, it was a 25-minute video because I talked a lot about vocabulary and talked a lot about the story, but I don't have 25 minutes anymore. So I got to just like kind of read through it. And then maybe after I'll start a new video and maybe we can talk about it. Okay. So this book is called Hattie and Hudson. The cool thing about this book is now we read Mercy Watson already, and the illustrator, Chris Van Dusen, he did the pictures in Mercy Watson. He's the author and illustrator of this book called Hattie and Hudson. Alrighty, let's go. Try to read this quickly. Hattie McFadden loved to explore. Every morning after breakfast, she'd grab her life jacket, wave goodbye to her parents, and paddle out in the canoe to see what she could see. Hattie discovered all kinds of things out on the lake. She watched as a beaver tugged an alder branch slowly through the water. Above, 2 bald eagles circled round and round on wings broad and flat, and over in the cove, a family of turtles with shiny black shells basked in the warm summer sun. Hattie was so happy, she started singing. When the sun is up and the day is new and the birds are singing in the sky, that's when you'll find me in my little canoe, paddle just a paddling by. She had no idea she was being heard. So here you can see her little canoe at the top, and deep underneath the water, somebody's listening. Down at the bottom of the lake, in a cave dark and deep, there lived a mysterious creature. He was enormous but elusive. Enormous means huge. Elusive means that he liked to hide a lot. He tried to avoid people. He didn't want to be found or seen. He never ventured up to the surface. He spent his days down below, all alone and out of sight. So this is the surface of the water. When it says he never ventured up, it almost sounds like the word adventure, right? That means he never went up to the surface because he wanted to stay hidden. He wanted to, be secretive and mysterious at the bottom of the lake. The monster was used to hearing motors buzzing and propellers churning overhead. It was why he stayed hidden in his cave, but today he heard something different. A song, bouncy and bubbly, came echoing down through the water. So come with me, 'cause there's room for 2. We'll be together, you and I, out on the lake on my little canoe, paddle just a paddling by. It was so cheerful and charming that it drew the beast out of his lair and up toward the light. Whoa. All right, guys. Now, you see her face? Do you think she looks frightened, or do you think she looks amazed and excited? I think she looks pretty amazed and excited, but I don't know about you, but if a big, enormous sea monster popped out of the water, when I was in a canoe, I'd probably be a little frightened, right? He broke through the water, drawn by the music, and there, just off to his right, was a young girl alone in a canoe, singing. Hi. And there's Avery. You need to scoot though, baby. Hattie stopped when the thing rose right beside her. She stared at the monster, and the monster stared back. But she didn't feel afraid. There was something in his eyes, the way he looked at her, and the curious tilt of his head. It was almost as if he wanted to hear more. So Hattie softly continued singing. When the sun goes down and the day is through and the moon is a-rising in the sky, I'll take you home in my little canoe, paddle just a paddling by. And as she sang the last note, Hattie was astounded when the giant joined in, harmonizing with a low rumble. So the sea creature was like singing with her. Then someone screamed. Avery's doing our sound effects. People pointed. Some fainted. Motors roared as boats fled in a frenzy. Amid all the commotion, the creature slid beneath the water, and Hattie paddled slowly and silently back to the dock. That night, Hattie tried to sleep, but every time she closed her eyes, she pictured the green, friendly face looking down at her. She wondered if she'd ever see him again. She decided she had to find out. At the bottom of the lake, the girl's sweet song played over and over in the monster's head. He wondered if he'd see her again. He decided he had to find out. Hattie paddled the canoe quietly through the darkness.
That's creepy.
Now, here's the thing. Yes, that does look creepy. Avery said that looks creepy. So Hattie's a kid. Kids should not leave their house in the middle of the night without their parents.
Don't do it.
Without their parents' permission.
Do not do it.
This is just a character in a story.
Don't try that at home.
This didn't really happen, but I just want to make sure you all know you always have to tell your family where you're going, and they should go with you. I don't know what the rules are in Hattie's house, but I imagine she probably isn't allowed to leave the house in the middle of the night and go on a canoe. So that might have been the wrong, maybe not the best choice. Okay? I don't know. It's just a story though, right? Here we go. Hattie paddled the canoe quietly through the darkness. She stopped, waited, and looked down into the rippling water. Suddenly, a massive black shape emerged from the depths. Two glowing eyes grew brighter and brighter as the shape drew closer and closer. Slowly, the gigantic head emerged from the water. It glistened in the moonlight. For a moment or two, the monster and the girl simply stared at each other. Then Hattie broke the silence. "Hi, I'm Hattie," she said. "The girl you met this morning? I was really hoping I'd see you again. What's your name?" The monster cocked his head. "You do have a name, don't you?" The monster raised his eyebrows and cocked his head even more. Maybe you don't," Hattie said. "Well, you kind of remind me of my uncle's dog, Hudson. Maybe I should call you Hudson. Do you like that name? Hudson?" The monster slowly smiled. "Good, I like it too," she said. "It fits you. Hello, Hudson." And just like that, they became fast friends. The little girl and the huge monster splashed and played in the silvery moonlight until Hattie realized it was time to head home. As she climbed into the canoe, she turned around smiling and said, "Hey, Hudson, let's meet again tomorrow night, okay?" Hudson nodded eagerly and smiled back. The next afternoon, there was a meeting at the town hall. Everyone was yelling, suggesting ways to get rid of what they called the deadly beast. If only they knew him, Hattie thought. So they think that the sea monster Hudson is dangerous. She tried to say something, but she was interrupted. She tried again, but no one heard her. She tried several times to speak. Finally, she gave up. When the meeting was over, Hattie walked home with her dad. She felt a little sick. Hattie snuck out again that night to be with Hudson, but when they met, she didn't feel much like playing. "The townspeople saw you yesterday," she explained. "Everybody thinks you're dangerous. Tomorrow, they're coming to catch you and take you away. I don't know where to, but we can't let this happen. We need a plan." Hattie was deep in thought when Hudson abruptly nudged the canoe with his nose, nearly knocking it over. "Hey!" barked Hattie. Hudson did it again. "What are you doing?" Once again, he bumped the boat. Then he looked at her and smiled brightly. "Wait a second. I think I know what you're doing," said Hattie. Then she added, And this could work. This could definitely work. Hudson, you're a genius. At the break of dawn, Hattie paddled her canoe over to the town landing. The men were already gathered, loading their boats with radars, ropes, and netting. Hattie started to feel sick again, but she had to stay focused. She had to stick to the plan. She had to save her new friend. So she paddled her canoe away from the shore into the center of the lake. Then she waited. So here she is right here. Now it was Hudson's turn. He swam up to Hattie. He carefully bumped the bottom of the canoe. It flipped over easily, tossing Hattie, as planned, into the water. Hattie flailed her arms. She splashed the water. She pretended to be in serious peril. That means serious danger. Peril means danger. The men on the landing sprang into action. "Hang on," someone hollered. "We're on our way." The boats were coming quickly, but Hattie waited and waited until they were in perfect position. Then she signaled to Hudson. Oh, look what Hudson did. The people stared in complete stunned silence as Hudson slowly swam past. When he reached the landing, he gently lowered his head so Hattie could slide off. Now it was Hattie's turn to hold a meeting. "This is Hudson," she said bravely. "He's a friend of mine. I know you think he's scary and mean and dangerous, but he's actually very..." Sorry guys, my video got interrupted by an alarm. She said, "He's a friend of mine. I know you think he's scary and mean and dangerous, but he's actually very friendly. He won't hurt you, I promise. This lake is his home, and I think he deserves to stay. Once you get to know him, I'm sure you'll agree." Hattie paused. Everyone stood still. Then a young boy slowly walked up and patted Hudson gently on the nose. Another child followed, then another. Soon, a few adults cautiously stepped forward. Before long, a crowd had gathered around Hudson. It took some convincing, but eventually everyone welcomed the idea of having Hudson around. He even became something of an attraction. People traveled from far and wide to spend time with the famous friendly monster. But when the sun went down and the visitors left, for Hattie and Hudson, everything was just as it had been since the beginning. And every night they met in the same place, played the same games, and splashed and frolicked under the big silver summer moon. Oh, and that's the end. I hope you liked that story. I wish we could talk about it a little bit more, but I think our time is up. I hope you guys are having a good day. And I hope you liked learning with Little Tweet. We'll do a little bit more later. Okay? Bye.